So I've been reading this book called The Real Anthony Fauci. Downloaded the Kindle version on Amazon, so it's available and able to flip through it. And I'm only about 10 or 11% into it, and I'm just blown away. The book by Robert Kennedy. It's about some of the various things that have gone on the past 2 years, if not longer, when it comes to COVID-19 and public health policy, vaccines, therapeutics, some of the behind-the-scenes things that are happening. And we've got, of course, some of those out there who research this, who put together the proper sourcing and documentation and the interviews, and they compile it into a book, and that's something Robert Kennedy's done with The Real Anthony Fauci, out now, and it's a bestseller. But at the same time, it's also apparently very much suppressed. And to talk about it is the publisher of Skyhorse Publishing here on the WMAY Morning News Feed. I'm Greg Bishop, talking now with Tony Lyons, who published Robert Kennedy's book, The Real Anthony Fauci. Tony, thanks for taking time with us this morning. For people not familiar with Robert Kennedy, tell us about what his work and what the book is.
Okay, so the book is called The Real Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, Big Pharma, and the Global War on Democracy and Public Health by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It's currently the best-selling book in America. It sold 700,000 copies in 7 weeks. But it's also the most censored book in America, so you won't read about it in any newspaper. It's been totally banned from bookstores, from libraries, from big tech platforms where they won't allow you to advertise for it. Even the New York Times would not take an $18,000 advertisement from us because it had a blurb from a Nobel Prize-winning scientist who said that Dr. Fauci has lied. So, which is crazy because he admits to lying, and the New York Times itself said that he lied. So this is a book that's being censored because it counters the mainstream narrative about COVID. But this is a really serious, meticulously researched book. It's got 2,194 citations. It's been vetted by doctors and lawyers and scientists. It's even got, like I said, a blurb from a Nobel Prize winner. And, this is a book that details Dr. Fauci's corruption over a 50-year period of incredible financial entanglements, of experimenting on foster children, on poor Black children, on poor Hispanic children, on ignoring viable alternatives to vaccines and to other medications merely because there was no money to be made on those alternatives because they were off patent. So this is a very serious book with very serious accusations and allegations that need to be addressed. And what's happening is that these powerful forces are trying to prevent you from reading this book, so that reading the book has almost become an act of revolt and of sort of a statement that people are tired of being told what to do, what to think, what to read, or in this case, what not to read. So, that's the basic story. I mean, this is, I've known Bobby Kennedy personally for 10 years, and I know him to be a real fighter for justice, that he's doing things that are against his own public interest. So when you look at whether to trust somebody, you should think about following the money. And Dr. Fauci, just in a short anecdote, he has said for years and years that The Godfather is his favorite book, and that his favorite line in the book is, this is just business, it's not personal. So you've got the most powerful public health official in the world saying that he's more concerned with money and with business than with people and with public health. And that has really shown through. I mean, he has shown, and this book details meticulously, that his goal has been to maximize return on investment and not to protect the health of Americans and of people all around the world. And that's scary. And, if it's not true, if Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in The Real Anthony Fauci is not telling the truth, Dr. Fauci can easily refute it. I mean, he has the bully pulpit. He can get up and he can be on any TV show in America. I mean, we've all seen him day after day after day.
Well, I'd imagine too, Tony, he could
science.
sue if anything in there is not accurate. He could sue. He's the highest paid federal employee, making $400,000+ a year. Apparently, he's also going to be getting some royalties from some of these vaccines. He's got the money.
And yeah, Forbes says he's going to get $350,000 a year as a retirement package for the rest of his life. So, he's doing pretty well. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. isn't making a penny on this book. He's donating all of his royalties. He worked on this book, 7 days a week, 16 hours a day for 9 months. I mean, this is not about money for him, and it is about money, by all accounts, for Dr. Fauci. And, if it's not true, he doesn't have to censor it. He doesn't have to attack people. He doesn't have to do what he's been doing. This is this incredibly powerful official who is actually coming out and calling people names rather than addressing any of the allegations. And he has to do that. I mean, this is a democracy. There has to be room for dialogue and debate. And he has to come out and he has to show us that he's not doing these things that he's accused of doing. And he can't just sort of evade this. We need to have congressional hearings. We need to get to the bottom of what's going on with public health in America and the world.
And we're talking with Tony Lyons. He's the publisher of Skyhorse Publishing, published the book by Robert Kennedy, The Real Anthony Fauci. It's sold gangbusters, but it's not being featured in the likes of, bestseller lists from some of the corporate media out there. Tony, react if you could to those who might say, yeah, this is spreading misinformation. It's going to cause harm. People are going to look at the therapeutics that are talked about in the book and the suppression of that, and it's just going to brew distrust, and why not just go along to get along?
Yeah, so I would say that, this is not what people had in mind when they talk about misinformation. This is a book with 2,194 citations. It's over 200,000 words long. I mean, this is the kind of book that is meant to protect the public from, historical errors. And, this is a book about protecting people from big pharma and from corrupt government. And that's not dangerous. That's healthy. And, that's what's supposed to happen in a democratic country where we're supposed to be able to hear alternative voices. We don't want to be protected from debate and dialogue in a democracy. That's what happens in a fascist country. And we're proud of our history, and we're proud of our ability to hear a lot of different voices and decide for ourselves which ones we want to believe.
Tony, as a publisher, talk about, I guess, the thinking that you have when it comes to accepting proposals like these that are going to be controversial, that are going to be raked through the coals, that could have be suppressed in conversations. Talk about the thinking behind being a publisher faced with that prospect.
Sure. I was on a couple of TV shows, and somebody asked me in one of them whether I was afraid to publish these kinds of books. And my response there, and is now, is that I'm afraid not to publish these kinds of books. That I think that these kinds of books are so essential both to democracy and to the future of the American people and to people all around the world, that people have to have the ability to decide and to analyze real information. We don't want to be protected. We don't want people to tell us what the truth is. And this is a huge controversy now. I mean, there was a short op-ed in the New York Times yesterday that said that a journalist's job is to bring the truth to the American public. And I could not agree more, because the idea that there is one truth is so misguided. Truth is complicated. So there are lots of facts, and people want to know the facts, but they don't want the conclusions. They don't want people to tell them what to think. And the role of investigative journalism is to really investigate all sides and to bring all sides to the American public so that they can accurately decide and weigh and balance different considerations and then come to their own conclusions.
Despite how unsavory some of those things may be, it's important as part of our First Amendment's free speech rights to get everything on the table so that people can make up their own minds. Tony Lyons, the publisher of Skyhorse Publishing, they brought the book forward from Robert Kennedy, The Real Anthony Fauci. It's available on digital. It's available. Where can people find the book if they can't find it at their bookstore?
Yeah, so they can download the ebook virtually anywhere that ebooks are sold. Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, lots of other places. It's only the ebook now is $2.99. We wanted it to sort of be easy for people to get it, to download it anywhere in the world quickly. The audiobook is also just a fantastic document. It's really well read and fun to listen to. And that can be downloaded anywhere. Physical books, probably the best place right now is Amazon, and they are in stock and deliver, I think, in 24 hours now.
But again, people can download that digital book version for $3, and you've got it right there on the spot. Tony, that's all the time we've got. Appreciate you taking it with us, and maybe we connect again soon, okay?
That's great. Thanks so much for having me on.
It is the WMAY morning news feed, now 8:53, and coming